There is a certain kind of grief that comes from futures that disappear before they ever had the chance to happen. Not memories, not photographs, not anniversaries, just plan you still thought you had time for. We were supposed to leave for Costa Rica on July 26. I still remember the dates clearly. July 26 to August 10th. We talked about beaches, food, rest, sunshine, ordinary conversations people have when life still feels safe. And maybe that is part of what hurts the most. How normal everything felt before it didn't. On July 2nd, we found out he had cancer. 10 days later, we heard the word stage 4 T-cell lymphoma. And by August 13, he was gone. Sometimes I still sit with how quickly life can divide itself into before and after without asking permission first. One moment you are thinking about luggages and flight times. In the next moment, you are sitting in hospital room learning words you never wanted to know. Blood counts, treatments, side effects. Hope tangled together with fear so tightly you can barely separate them anymore. People talk about grief like it only begins after someone dies. But honestly, part of grief begins the moment life stops feeling safe. The moment the future suddenly becomes fragile. There is a heartbreak that comes from watching ordinary plans quietly disappear. We never canceled that trip because we changed our minds. Life canceled it for us. And somehow that still feels impossible to fully accept. Sometimes grief appears in the smallest moments. A commercial about travel. A suitcase in the closet. An airport scene in a movie. Someone casually talking about vacation plans. And suddenly your chest tightens because your mind remembers a future your heart never got to live. I think people underestimate how much grief is connected to unfinished things. The conversation you thought were still coming. The mornings you thought you still had. The places you thought you will still go together. You are not only grieving the person, you are grieving the future your heart already built around them. There were moments during those weeks when I still believe we will somehow get through it. And looking back now, I think that maybe one of the quietest form of heartbreaks. Realizing how hard you were still trying to hold on to hope while life was already slipping through your hands. And yet, even now, after everything, I still believe love leaves traces behind. Quiet ones. Morning lights through the window. Coffee cups sitting untouched. Songs that suddenly feel heavier than they used to. The silence at night. The instinct to reach for your phone before remembering there is nobody to text anymore. Love stays in those places. Sometimes people think healing means learning how to not hurt anymore. But I do not think that is true. I think healing after loss sometimes look more like learning how to carry both love and sorrow in the same hand while feeling like you are failing for it. Some days I still think about the trip we never took. Not because of Costa Rica itself, but because it reminds me how ordinary life was right before everything changed. How quickly a normal summer became hospital rooms, exhaustion, fear, and goodbye. And maybe that is why grief feels so emotionally exhausting sometimes. Because part of the mind is still trying to understand how someone can be here and then suddenly not. If you are carrying that kind of grief today, the grief connected to interrupted plans, unfinished futures, or a life that changed too quickly, I just want you to know that your pain makes sense. There is nothing wrong with you for still thinking about what could have been. Love naturally reaches toward the future. So when the future disappears, grief follows it there. And maybe today, instead of forcing yourself to move on, you simply allowed yourself to acknowledge this truth. You love deeply. That is why this hurt deeply. And somehow, even through all the heartbreaks, that love is still here, quietly, softly, living inside the spaces they once occupied, one moment at a time. Be gentle with yourself. Until next time, take care.